I was on Trenton TV, I was on this radio show, I'm doing this and doing that. And my mother-in-law said, that's all good stuff you're doing, boy, good stuff. But you better remember to put God first. I didn't know what she was talking about. Then I started thinking about it, and it took me back. Church on Sunday, I remember it well. You couldn't wiggle around, and if you did, my mama got mad as hell. She'd pop you on the head with her hand, moving real fast and hard like Jackie Chan. And when the time came for the pastor to speak, if you didn't look like you was listening, my mama would freak. It wasn't no children's church then, and I was about 12, and I couldn't understand nothing the pastor was saying. But I kept one eye open because I knew that my mama wasn't playing. Now, one part of the service woke all the men up. You see, Sister Betty usually caught the Holy Spirit at the same time, and she was fine, 21, and she knew it. Before joining the church, she had really been through it. Sometimes she moved with the Holy Spirit, and sometimes she moved with another spirit. Mama said that her worship was genuine, but sometimes she needed to sit down with her fast behind. But the men secretly drooled, and the boys would act a fool. Now, Sister Dottie was rather large, and when she caught the spirit, she was really in charge. She was on fire for Jesus, but it took 3 ushers and 2 deacons to sit her down as she was flailing around, knocking members down. But when testimony time came, Sister Nora's testimony was always the same. It didn't seem to get better, it never changed. Sometimes it seemed to get worse, but she always came. She spoke of no money, no food, no man, and no job, but she prayed and believed, and she kept on praising God. Now, I thought this at times to be strange, because for her, nothing seemed to get better. It never. Yes, it was odd, but she kept on testifying about her God, like her testimony was rehearsed. But she ended it always by saying, put God first. And when offering came each and every Sunday, she put in money that she didn't have. Her last and said, I'll pray, and the Lord will make a way. At 12 years old, I thought that money was going straight to the pastor's car. But not Sister Nora. In her heart and soul, it was an offering to God, and for that, her and her family will go very far. Fast forward. 20-something years later, and the church had changed. Things weren't the same. Music from my day that my mama told me was evil was now being played for praise and worship. Gospel rap, spiritual dance. The church had opened its eyes some and was giving new things a chance. Mama was bringing me back to church. But now I'm drug addicted, afflicted, spiritually bankrupt, generally conflicted, sick, and ruined. But now I wasn't so worried about what others were doing. I'm serious now. I ain't playing. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat to hear what the pastor was saying. 3 husbands later and older, Sister Betty still had that punctual Holy Spirit time. She was still here. She was still coming. But now when she moved, the men was running. Me, I was ashamed and I wanted to die. I couldn't even look up and look the pastor in the eye. But my mama said, hold your head up. I wanted to cry, and I asked her why. She said, son, you think things are bad, but they could be worse. Look what can happen when you put God first. She pointed in the pulpit for me to see, and there was Sister, now Pastor Nora, smiling at me. Wow. It was a miracle. I saw what faith can do. Sister Nora, the testimony lady, was now in charge. She was Pastor Nora. It was true what her faith in God could do. Pastor Nora began by saying that just by having the faith of a mustard seed, she got by and met all of her needs. That prayer had taught her when to sit still, and worship moved her to follow God's will. Through good times and bad times, and those low times when she felt she had truly descended, that through faith she was transcended, and through God to the pulpit she had ascended. She said sometimes putting God first is not what you recite, not what you say, not what you sing, but sometimes just doing the next right thing. She looked at me and said, no matter how bad it gets, how much it starts to fade, I needed to remember that I was wonderfully made. She said that was my own will keeping me down and taking me through it. If I wanted better, following God's way would lead me to it. I listened carefully to what she said. Then she walked down and put a hand on my head. I didn't fall out, but I felt spiritually fed. All my problems weren't solved, but I had some spiritual resolve. I saw that God first wasn't phony, and that from the sister to the pastor, she still had a testimony. It wasn't no joke. And I realized as she spoke that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And 20-something years later, I think I know what it means. It means hold on like Job, follow that Joseph-like dream, have that Moses-like faith, and even at your very, very worst, always remember to keep God first.